Good morning, everybody. How we doing?
Good morning. We're good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. A few minutes before we start, do we have any questions? Any questions about the mini quiz? Anything about Southwest Airlines? Everybody knows everything?
We turned that in last Friday, right?
I hope you did.
Okay, just want to make sure because I thought I turned it in early.
Okay. So, any opinions about the upcoming election? It's always a good way to start an argument, talk about politics.
I voted independent just so my vote would count for the propositions.
Yeah. Well, at least this last debate was actually fairly decent.
The moderator was a bit better. I think the last one, he was all over the place. I think when they started muting their mics, it went on a little bit better.
Yeah, I was like halfway through the first one and going, man, I wish we could mute the mics on this one, but
Yeah.
so is everybody getting bombarded by Facebook, Instagram, and all those others about registering to vote and to go out and vote? They're doing a pretty heavy advertisement. All right, we got a couple more minutes here, and then we'll get started. Lucas, it looks like you're ready for the snow. The rest of the United States is getting snow except for Southern California. All right, those of you who haven't turned on your cameras, let's get those cameras on. See your bright and cheery faces. Just want to double check and make sure you're not sleeping through the class. Like Jacqueline, she looks like she can use another hour of sleep. Richard, Edmund, Martin, Carlos, Omar, you guys got cameras today? Jorge, Grace, Alvin, Carlos.
I don't have my camera on because I'm pretty sick today.
You're pretty sick. Nobody wants to see that. Okay. All right, shall we get started? Start off with any questions? Yes, no? Everybody knows exactly what's going on? All right. All right, well, welcome to week 4. So next week is our midterm. So we'll do a little preparation for that this week. We're going to do a little reviews of chapter 1 and 4. Chapter 5 is the differentiation advantage as opposed to the cost advantage that we've been talking about before. And then what's new, questions and answers, and the evil Facebook. We'll talk all about them today. If you guys were going to have a quiz today, it would be, what is differentiation? Okay, everybody get a piece of paper out. No, I'm just messing with you. All right. So you name the 4 different ways companies differentiate themselves from each other. So that's all about this chapter. Providing unique value that allows firms to command a premium price for its products or services relies on the customer's willingness to pay more. Okay. So when you differentiate your product, you're actually going to get a higher price for your product. Okay. So this nice little watch, I kind of wanted to buy that. I looked it up on the internet. They only wanted $20,000 for it. Yeah, I don't understand either. So if you're going to differentiate your product in a way that you're going to be able to charge $20,000 for a cheap watch, that's fine. So differentiation, you got 4 different types. A superior product, for example, this diamond cluster, how much do you think this is worth? Just throw some numbers out there.
10 million.
10 million. Okay. Anybody else? Ladies, come on, chime in.
75,000.
How much?
75,000.
75,000. I think 10 million was closer. I think this doesn't do it justice.
10 million and 1.
25 million for this diamond cluster. So obviously you're going to have to know your customer base a lot better than you are with your Walmart, your cost advantage as opposed to differentiation advantage. So Walmart, they appeal to a wide range of customers, which you also can do in a differentiation, but also you can appeal to that top 1% of customers. And doing so, you're going to have to know your customers very, very well. And how do you get to know your customers really well? Anyone want to answer how you get to know your customers really well?
Does it? Don't a lot of companies pay to get data from their customers? Like they pay other companies, so it's all about data.
Absolutely. It's all about data. You know, when you're talking to your boyfriend or your significant other in the house and you say, hey, you know, I'd really like to buy this diamond ring, and then suddenly you get like 50 million advertisements on Instagram for a diamond ring. Yes.
Siri likes to listen.
Yes, I know. So there's no privacy anymore. All right, so let's move on. So we're going to do a little bit of review. The first week we talked about Walmart. So what are some of the advantages of being a Walmart for the cost advantage? Number 1 is what? What's the number 1 reason? Walmart.
Low prices.
Absolutely, low prices. Okay, so Southwest is also a low price leader, right, in the airline industry. Okay, so why is Walmart's cost so lower? Key to Walmart's strategy is the choice of markets. They like to go into a market with 50,000 or less. Over 2,000 rural American stores. There's probably a lot more than that now. This was a few months old. Higher prices in smaller markets, they can get away with making a bigger profit margin, charging higher profits because there is no competition other than maybe Amazon. Lower costs in small markets. The cost of labor, one, is lower. The cost of owning a big, huge warehouse or market is a lot lower. And then first mover advantage. Okay. So a lot of the competitors will refuse to enter a market that Walmart is already in. You won't find a Target store opening up next to a Walmart. Okay. Why has Walmart been successful? Well, it's not just the low prices, but it's a number of reasons. Low prices are number one, but there are a number of key things that they do. The contracts that they have with farmers, transportation, they've invested heavily into the technology and information systems for transportation. Everything from distribution to the way the store does their ordering. Okay, what about Southwest? Grabs spots as the world's largest airline as far as seats flown worldwide. They did America was their number 2, so they beat them finally. So economies of scale, we learned about Southwest Airlines is they have one airline that or one airplane that they fly. It's a 737. So that is the consistency throughout the entire fleet. And it has the largest in its market, and they keep the lower cost lower than their competitors. They negotiate better deals, especially with fuel and parts and all that other stuff. They have a good working relationship with Boeing. Okay, so the number one cost for airlines is its fuel. I think we went over a little bit about that. Okay, so learning experience effects, we also talked about that in the last chapter. The customer service, flying only one type of aircraft, and maintenance and parts on only one aircraft. Okay, so you only have one type of part to stock for one engine. Okay, and also Southwest became very, very good about labor. So the turnaround costs, remember we talked about this, so it saves millions of dollars in labor each year, or 200 million in profits, or 10% of its capital. So Southwest has 20% higher revenue per employee because of the turnaround time and what they've done. And all of this is through their training and KPIs and POSs. Okay, so the brand positioning is the low-cost leader. Even though Southwest isn't always the lowest cost, they've kind of presented that image that, hey, you fly with us, you're going to get the best price. And everybody wants the best price, right? They're the value leader in air travel. Okay, so labor is the biggest cost. Fuel is the second biggest cost. So with any airline, if you can get your labor under control and your fuel costs under control, that's the majority of your costs. Okay. So Southwest, by the airports that they choose to be associated with, they're able to save quite a bit of money. So Southwest strategy, so hard to imitate. No meals. They throw a bag of peanuts at you. We already had this discussion. Limited checked luggage. They use one airplane, team approach to ground services, less congested airports, and high market share. Okay, so fast turnaround is the key to lower labor costs per passenger. In chapter 1, we talked about markets to pursue, what would be a good market, what industries make the most money. Remember, we talked about accountants have the highest profit margin, unique value to offer, resources, capabilities to develop, sustained advantage. Okay. And then also the SWOT analysis, get to know that, learn it, love it, live it, use it on everything. Strategic management is competitive advantage, knowing what markets to compete in or not to compete in, what unique value the firm will offer, the resources and capabilities, and ways to sustain the advantage by preventing imitation. Okay, so what company is really good at imitating products that sell really well? Amazon. Amazon steals a lot of the ideas that people sell on their platform, and they make it themselves and then start selling it. Chapter 2, we talked about Porter's 5 forces, threat of new entry, buyer power, threat of substitution, supplier power, and competitive rivalry. Okay, so this and this will probably be on the midterm. So Porter's 5 forces in the value chain. The firm infrastructure, know what that is, know how to explain it. Human resources management, technology development, procurement, and then the primary activities of what a company does, inbound logistics, taking raw material or labor and putting it into operations, outbound logistics, how they sell their services or products, marketing and sales, the way they do that, the service after the sale, and what the margin is profit margin. Okay. Chapter 3, we talked about this again. And the VRIO, valuable, rare, imitable, and organized. So if it's valuable, remember, just because a company has a bunch of gold or diamonds doesn't mean it's valuable if it's not used in the process of what it's doing. So if Facebook is holding on to just a bunch of gold bars, that really doesn't do them any good. It may add value to their bottom line, but it doesn't really help what they do as far as their company processes. Rare is something is rare, like diamonds. When you're selling diamonds, if it's rare, that'll help you in pricing. Inimitable, if it's easy to if it's easy to duplicate, then it's not a good thing. If it's hard to duplicate or very expensive to duplicate, that's good. And organized, we talked about organized, how a lot of these companies like Zoom is organized to take advantage of what happened with the COVID-19 type situation. All right, Pastel. This is also a very good framework. I want you to commit this to memory because it might be on the midterm too. So political, economic, social, technology, environment, and legal. Okay, I don't believe this is in your book. I can't remember if this is in your book or not, but I don't think so. Chapter 4 is the economies of scale. So we have learning and experience effects, lower costs due to proprietary knowledge, lower input costs, and different business models. In the different business models, we used Uber, how they disrupted the taxi cab model. All right, any questions about chapters 1 through 4? Now we get to talk about the evil Facebook. Okay. So most of you guys probably don't even use Facebook anymore. You guys are all on Instagram and other platforms now. Just your parents are on Facebook? Yeah, no, maybe. All right. So what about Facebook's corporate mission? Remember, we always like to talk about mission statements. Corporate mission is to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. So how many of you think that this is still their mission? Let's hear a little bit about that.
I feel like it is still their mission. And the reason why is because I still use Facebook myself. And the reason for that is because I lived in Mexico for a couple of years, and a lot of my friends and family members in Mexico use Facebook, and that's our way to communicate.
Okay.
I also feel like it's still pretty much their mission statement, even though they've acquired other companies like Instagram and WhatsApp and Oculus since then. Most of their acquisitions remain around the concept of social messaging and communication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Facebook owns Instagram and WhatsApp and quite a few others. Who else?
Those are the few that get to remain entities of their own. Everything else they roll in.
Okay. So most of you guys still think that the corporate mission is to build community and bring the world closer together. That's good. Even though lately there's been a lot of stuff in the news about Facebook trying to censor what people are saying, so that you can't really censor a community because it doesn't bring the world closer together when you start doing that. So Facebook is taking a lot of heat in that sense. Okay. So we're going to talk more, not so much about what Facebook is doing today, but what they started off doing. A strategy whereby companies attempt to gain competitive advantage by offering value that is not available in other products or services that other products don't do as well. So when Facebook first came out, they did a lot of things that set themselves apart from their competition, which pretty much are no longer in business today. So Facebook, Friendster, and MySpace. So in the beginning, there was these 3 different social platforms that were out there. They were trying to get everybody's business. They wanted everybody to come to them. So what Facebook did as opposed to Friendster and MySpace, was a little bit different. So they're all free services. Okay. So how did Facebook differentiate itself to surpass the two? So they offered a greater exclusive privacy and simplicity, the ability to share relationship status, and zero advertising. So those were the main things that Facebook wanted to do that these other two were not doing. Of course, so they've kind of evolved into like doing none of those now. But that's what happens when you become a monopoly and you can actually do whatever you want to do without any repercussions. So in the beginning, Facebook didn't do any advertising. So you didn't go on your little personal website with Facebook, your personal page, and say, and there wasn't a bunch of pop-up ads. There wasn't any type of advertising at all. Okay. The site was secure. They didn't share your personal information. Facebook didn't tell everybody who you are, what time you go to bed, what time you wake up, what grocery store you like to go to, what food you buy, what food you eat, the people that you see. So they didn't track all that information in the beginning. So it was a minimalist, clean, neat page that they had. And then they offered relationship status on the profile, which nobody else did. So I do believe Facebook still does that. I don't think they advertise it as heavily as they do as in the beginning. But so it was kind of a way to meet new people, try and find a significant other, kind of romantic hookups. But I think they got a lot of other websites for that now. All right, I think it's what, swipe left, swipe right. What happened to Facebook in the 3 years since their textbook was published? Well, pretty much Facebook has become a monopoly, right? There's no other companies that really come close to do what Facebook does. Just like Google and Amazon, they control 80% of the US online advertisement, and there's no regulations whatsoever. They can pretty much advertise, do whatever they want, and the federal government or the FAA cannot do anything really about it. A lot of that stuff is starting to change now. The federal government is starting to become more aware of what's going on. But in 2017, Facebook made over $40 billion in revenue just in advertising, digital advertisements. So you go from zero to $40 billion in just a few years. Pretty amazing. But unlike its rival, which allows advertisers to connect with consumers through key searches, Facebook generally spies on you and targets you. Okay, so they know exactly what you're doing. They know exactly how you're doing it when you do it. Okay, Google primarily makes money via its advertising network. 2017 generated 86% of its revenue through that way, and then 13% through other sources. So Google and Facebook are primarily make all of their money selling your information. Okay, so the company's net income, Amazon, is tripled last year from 3 billion to 10 billion, and that was in 2018. So they've done quite a bit since that time. 31% gain revenue. So this is the type of money that people are making selling your information at Google, Facebook, and Amazon. Okay. So the market value of Amazon, for example, this is last year, $427 billion. And as you can see, Sears and JCPenney are no longer in business. Kohl's is doing okay. Nordstrom's has contracted and closed some of their stores. Macy's the same way. Best Buy is struggling along. And then Target. And then obviously Walmart, which has a majority share of the brick and mortar. Okay. And then last year I taught this class and we did the stock pricing of Amazon, Google, and Facebook. You can see how they've grown significantly over just a year's time, right? But the scary part about this is they grew mostly within the last 4 months, 5 months. Since the COVID-19 in April, this is what they've grown. This is what they were at, and this is what they've grown to. If you look at the bottom numbers, 32, 15, 279, as opposed to these numbers. Okay, so by collecting your information and selling your information, that's how much they've grown. So we're going to talk about the differentiation advantage. So like cost advantage can be focused or it can be broad. For example, Nike shoes is broad, Starbucks and Apple. So it appeals to a wide mass market, and it's a unique product or services, and it's based on the willingness of the consumer to pay a premium price for value goods. So a lot of people have no problem paying $5 for a cup of coffee, right? So they go to Starbucks, they order a cup of coffee. A lot of people have no problems paying $100 for a pair of Nikes. When Nikes first came out, I wanted them so bad. I had to save up my money and buy them because my parents said, there's no way we're going to spend that much money on a pair of shoes. All right. This was quite a few years ago. All right. So, but they can also be focused. So on the Rolls-Royce Phantom, you have your top 1% of people in the world who can actually afford that, and your Rolex watch, which is very focused to a very small group. Tesla, not so much anymore. They're making cars that are going to appeal to everybody. But when Tesla first came out, the car was over $100,000, which everybody, I mean, all you college students can afford that, right? No? All right. So it's kind of a very narrow market. So differentiation means providing unique value that allows a firm to command a premium price for its products or services. So with the hype of Starbucks being the way it is, it can charge $5 for a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Okay, and everybody's willingness to pay. Ladies, a Valentino bag, right? Everybody wants one. This is only $4,000. And you have to have a wallet to go with your bag, right? How much do you think this wallet is worth?
1,000.
500.
500, 2,000. See what we got in the chat box. 2,000, 1,000. 1,350. Good guess. All right. So there are 4 primary ways that companies differentiate their products from the competitors. So Porsche, the superior ultimate driving machine, right? So that's a superior product. Volvo, we have better reliability because Volvo is known for its safety and reliability. Convenience, the Ford F-150 is the best-selling truck, very convenient for many, many people. And then brand and image, everybody wants to be seen in a Ferrari, right? The Stallion. All right. So Facebook offers greater exclusivity, privacy, simplicity, ability to share relationship status, and zero advertising. So this is how Facebook in the beginning really set itself apart. It had a unique product feature, unique product performance, exceptional services. It was a new technology. Everybody, like Marivelle said, our family can connect on this platform. But you couldn't do that before. My wife's family, they're all from South America. They connect on Facebook and then also on WhatsApp, which is also owned by Facebook. So they're always talking and they send the little jokes that I don't understand because I'm a white boy. So, all right. So sometimes can it be too different? Did I show you guys the video with Apple? I think I showed that in the beginning. Did I not? Okay, I'll have to post that video. You know, Apple didn't invent the first personal computer, right? They actually bought it from Xerox for $1 million in stock options. So Xerox came up with a personal computer that was very similar to what Apple put out in the beginning, and they paid $1 million in stock options for it. But Xerox actually made it 10 years before Apple came out with their computer. And the first personal computer only cost $40,000. Okay, so sometimes you can be a little bit too far ahead in time. All right. So what is the source of differentiation of advantage? We just spoke about this. Chime in. Got 4 sources. Let's go.
Brand.
Branding. That's one.
Convenience.
What's that?
Convenience.
Okay.
Reliability.
Reliability is good.
Superior product features.
Superior product features, absolutely. Arlene, wake up. What do you got? She's over there yawning. All right, so we have superior product features, better quality, reliability, more convenient to find, purchase and use, and brand and image. So if it does it, so we're going to use superior product features. Does a better job on existing features, does more jobs than other products, does a unique job that nothing else does. So what does your book use as an example on this?
For the better job, it uses an example of the Dyson.
Dyson? Absolutely. And what else, what other products, features set themselves apart and do a better job or are very appealing to the mass consumers?
Was it Apple?
A what?
Was it Apple?
Apple? Yeah. And then as far as service goes, Nordstrom sets itself apart because when you go to Costco, what kind of service do you get there?
I mean, if you're trying to return something, they're about equivalent. Pretty amazing.
Yeah. So, you know, but when you go to Costco, my point being is you don't get somebody to help you, walk you through. You don't get a personal shopper, somebody to help you design your outfit. Costco just throws a bunch of stuff out on tables and you pick out what you want, right?
Yeah, you'll. It's only their returns that's amazing for that.
Nordstrom's pretty good on their returns too. All right.
Yeah, I think they might have pioneered it.
Yeah, I think last time I went to Costco, I had to wait like 30, 40 minutes to return something. All right, and Disney. Obviously, Disney has set themselves apart since the very beginning. What is some of the differentiation advantages that Disney offers?
उनकी eyes में ना crystal है, like
The what?
magic है.
Okay.
I guess something they've recently done to differentiate themselves is I would say make I mean, this is something that other companies have already done, but I mean the type of business that they are, they did a streaming service where they're offering streaming services to their consumers now via Disney Plus.
Absolutely. So what Disney Plus made a ridiculous amount of money in the first month than they did selling tickets to get into the park. So all the money that they lost when they had to close down the Disneyland and Disney World, they actually made up for when they opened up the Disney streaming. Okay. Announcements. So if anybody is thinking about going into graduate school after they're done at the undergraduate level, they're waiving the GRE and the GMAT. UCR is the 100 MBA or top 100 MBA programs. And then Patrick Latimer is the guy you need to talk to. And if you need a personal introduction, I can do that for you. Okay. So next Monday, there's no mini quiz paper due because we're going to do the midterm. I'm going to do the review for the midterm on Monday, and I'm going to talk about it all this week. So if you have any questions about the midterm or what's going on, make an appointment with me for office hours. And as always, I always stick around after class for 15, 20 minutes. And if nobody shows up, then I go about my day. And then all of your groups, you're going to have 2 mandatory meetings with me First one is going to be the week after midterms. So your group's going to need to get in touch with me and do a meeting for your group project. Midterm's going to be November 4th. Mini case Nike due on November 6th. November 3rd, don't forget to vote. And then these are the questions which I'll post shortly. And any questions that you have for me? Yes, no, maybe?
Professor, so I think you might have said it, I think week 1 or week 2, but the midterm is going to be like a written, like questions that we have written answers, right?
It's going to be an essay form, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to post something on iLearn. You guys are going to show up to class, and then on iLearn, you're going to take your test and submit it that way.
All right. Thank you.
So you'll just write an essay about something about the value chain, force by forces, something of that nature that we've been studying and probably a company we've been talking about or companies.
Professor, how much time will we have on that midterm exam?
The full class. So I'll give you an hour to do it. I can make it a homework assignment.
I write slow.
You write slow?
Yeah, I don't know if I can bang out an essay in 50 minutes.
Well, then you better get to the point very quickly.
All right.
It's not going to be difficult. It's all the stuff you've been learning.
Is there an expected length for the essay?
Yes, as long as it takes.
Fair enough.
If I ask you, for example, if I ask you, to explain the value chain to me as it applies to Walmart, do you think you could do that? So what is the firm infrastructure, management, finance, legal, planning? Human resources, what are they known for, human resources? Okay, the technology, what have they done in the technology in the supply chain? Sales information, reordering. Okay, procurement, what have they done, for example, in Walmart? Procurement, they actually have the people set their prices, right? So
For the example of Walmart, a lot of those support activities overlap with the primary activities.
absolutely. And you would write that in your essay.
Okay, as opposed to like rewriting it for each section.
Well, I would set it up in a format, in a form that's going to be easy for me to read and grade, because I will be grading all of these. And you are writing these essays for me. So leave out all the bullshit and all the background. I don't need to know that Walmart started in a small little town in the middle of nowhere. I already know that. Okay, so don't waste your time or my time writing stuff like that that I don't need to read. Okay, so if I ask a question about the VRIO, you guys will know all about that. And then Pestel. Economies, the cost advantage strategies. If I ask you, what are the cost advantage strategies of Southwest Airlines? Okay. Questions about that? All right. So if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to stick around for a little bit.